Hi everyone and welcome to the channel again. As some of you may already know, I'm a game developer. I say some of you cause YouTube says that 99% of people watching my videos are not subscribed. So, you know. Alright, so today I'm gonna be showing you the game I've been working for the past 2 years. I mean, not exactly 2 years, but stay there so you can understand. It's a roguelike top-down shooter where you play as Angry Cat trying to control a zombie outbreak in a remote town. The game I've been talking about is already on Steam, so if you like it, please wishlist it. I can't stress how much this is important, so please. So let's start from the beginning. In 2020 I released my first game on Steam, and it was a shitty game to be honest, so we don't really talk about that here. It's like a child that I don't want to assume. What you need to know about it is that I've made it for, have a grasp of what releasing a game on Steam is. I wanted to know how many people would play my games, and how could I increase my chances of success. Cause at that point, I didn't have a clue. I heard a bit from some YouTubers and people in forums, but things are always different when it's you there. And I knew how to program, and I knew a bit of art and storytelling. I just said, let's do it, what could go wrong? I don't even have to tell you that the game was a failure. It was really bad and not many people enjoyed it. But in the other hand, I learned a lot and got enough money to cover the assets I bought. So it was kind of a success in some way. And the most important thing I've learned from this is that if you want to succeed on Steam, your main concern needs to be having a good game. Steam really rewards you for making fun games. There are almost no tricks there. Just know what people like and give it to them. And that was a great thing to know, cause I don't make games only for profit. Of course that's important. If I have money I can keep making games, but it's not my main concern, which is making fun games. Those things getting along together is really awesome to me. But why? Why am I telling you about another game? Well, that's because the next game comes from the same idea, but different. After I learned about Steam and the PC market in general, I started to think about something. Some unspeakable things, something evil. Mobile games. We always hear about how mobile moves trillions of dollars every second and how big the market is, so why not give it a chance? Let's do the same as I did on Steam, but now with a better game of course, and compare both platforms. That's when Cats Kill Zombies was born, or at least its former cursed concept, the Zombie Invaders. The idea was to make a top-down shooter similar to those zombie modes in all three crappy FPSs, and a crafting system, because reasons, and I thought it would be different. This time I was way more concerned about the game loop, how to make people engaged with different weapons and crafting recipes, different enemies, keeping the player always in action while not overwhelming them, make the game challenging, and at the same time give you a sense of progress. It was not the best, it had some problems, like this confusing text saying retreat when you actually have to go forward, but actually it means retreat in the context of the story. Apart from the problems, at least the game was fun, and it wasn't even finished yet. I had a few people to try it out and they seemed to enjoy it. That's cool, right? Yeah, but here things get a bit complicated. Remember when I said that Steam rewards you for making a fun game and how your main concern should be quality? As it turns out, that's not the case with mobile. Steam profits from its 30% share from game revenue, so Steam really wants you to buy new games. In the other hand, most Android and iOS games are free, and people are not used to buy games there, or at least not as used as they are on PC and console. Instead, people spend their money on items, or they just watch ads. So Play Store doesn't really care if you're playing new games or still playing Clash of Clans in 2023, as long as you're playing them and spending money. So at the end of the day, if you are an indie developer and you're just starting there, you're all by yourself. The platform isn't going to give you any traffic. So what should I do? Well, talk to a publisher. Publishers are really good. They know the market, they will put your game in ads, and that may attract new players. It's funny though how most of the ads are placed inside other games, but anyway, publishers will help. They'll get a cut, but that's okay. And there I go, contacting multiple publishers and getting rejected by every one of them. Just sad, man. I found it awkward how more than half of the rejection messages I got include some text that can be resumed to "Sorry, your game is not hyper casual, and we only do hyper casual here." Yeah, those games seem to be the most effective attention grabbers out there, and publishers love to exploit it. It feels like mobile is much more focused on marketing than PCs, and I don't see this as a good thing. And look, I'm not saying that the market and its lack of creativity focus is the one to blame for my failure, cause my game wasn't creative either. That's what I realized at that point. Yes, Zombie Invaders wasn't a bad game, but still wasn't good enough. And most importantly, the game was too generic and not very interesting. Even the name was too generic. The graphics were like every other game out there. And to get things worse, I didn't know how to make the gameplay deeper. Cause while it was satisfying, it was too shallow to keep people engaged for more than 30 minutes. So with months ahead of needed adjustments and little faith in the future of the project, at the very beginning of 2022, I just gave up. For a time at least. I was focused on finishing my degree in college, learning more of game design, and participating in some game jams. I even got to participate in this weird jam where they had people to actually teach us things, and I learned a lot of important things from these guys, things that I would just ignore if it wasn't for them. And I even got the second prize, so it was very motivating. By April 2023, I had already finished my degree, learned a lot of new stuff, so this was the perfect time to start again. But one thing I was sure of, I'm not making any mobile game anymore. And there comes the question, how can I possibly turn this into an interesting game that people actually wanna play? As it turns out, from my learning experiences, I kinda knew the answers this time. And after some analysis, I came to this conclusion. This was really satisfying. So let's keep that. On the other hand, not much can be said from the rest. First, the game kind of lacked a defined genre, so it's way harder to explain the game to people. Even if you label the game as a wave-based shooter, it's not like anyone is trying to find that type of game. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you shouldn't innovate and be creative, but there are other places you can do that without messing with the genre. Having strong foundations in a genre is very important, cause nobody will pass your game just because they can't understand the concept. You have a more specific audience, so it's easier to understand their taste. And using that foundation tested so many times, over so many years, you can make sure your game will at least work. Then I set myself to find a genre that fits the content I already had, and that I personally enjoyed it. I came across this list, based in real data. On the left, you have the genres that go well on Steam, and on the right, the ones that don't. When I saw Rogue there, I remember how good it was to play Nuclear Throne, and how the base gameplay was similar to mine. So I picked it up. A roguelike is kind of what I wanted from the start, but I just couldn't figure that out at the time. A roguelike heavily relies on dynamics and procedural things to keep the game interesting. Take levels as an example. In a roguelike, levels are procedural. You only need to make the level generation algorithm once, and even me, the developer, can experience new levels when testing or playing. This is way more fun, and if you are having fun working, you are 1,000 times more productive. Another problem that I had with my game was its hook. A hook is something unique in your game that sticks in people's minds, something desirable and surprising, like a gun that shoots portals, or extremely realistic car physics. Zombie Invaders' hook was kind of being a mashup between tower defense and shooter, but it wasn't either surprising or desirable, and it wasn't done right. I kinda lost myself in the process and the game barely resembled a tower defense. You could build defenses and defend your base, but you don't call League of Legends a tower defense just because it has towers. And on top of that, the building mechanic felt a bit out of place. Most people who played the game never built anything. Building is a kind of obstacle to the action when it's necessary, and when it isn't, it becomes irrelevant. So I threw that idea in the trash, and I tried to think about another hook. It took some time before I could find one, but after watching a bunch of cat videos at my working hours while I was researching for similar games and just stumbled on this, my brain clicked immediately. What if those fluffy cats had guns? I really like these strange over-the-top concepts, mixing two random things together, so it was perfect. And from this I could even use a much more exciting name: Cats Kill Zombies. Cause cats kill zombies in this game. But I still had a lot to do in order to make this an interesting game. For example, the graphics. Even though I don't think those simple low poly graphics are bad, there are so many games using this style that I don't think is a good option if you want to stand out. And it's not very responsive to light changes and effects, making it way less flexible. I end up choosing this kind of 2000-ish photoreal graphics, with low res textures and not very detailed models. This is because I want the game to run smooth, and I want to play around with the lighting for each run by changing the time of the day and the weather. Using normal maps and reflections can lead to much more unique combinations. That's cool, but these textures look ugly. That's why I'll use a filter, the Kuwahara filter. I don't know a lot about shaders, but Acerola has a great video explaining that if you want to check it out. Essentially, it kinda pixelates the image, but roughly following the shapes, resembling an oil painting, which fits very well with that more expressionist setting that I'll talk about later. This can help to blend the scene together and make the low-res textures appear to be way less blurry. I mean, they are blurry, but not so annoying anymore. Now for the setting. Cats Kill Zombies had the most generic zombie setting and story you could possibly imagine. A zombie-infested city with people being attacked by a horde. I think this has been done a few times. So I took my thinking yo-yo. Yes, I play with a yo-yo when I need to think. What's the problem? That's the yo-yo. It has a cat on it, and it's kind of spooky. Not really spooky, but Scooby-Doo spooky. I like the style. There's a reason I chose this when I was 10 or something. What if all happens in a remote place and there's some magic involved, like Scooby-Doo and the Hex Girl? I mean, Scooby-Doo and the Witch Ghost? You know. This gothic but still childish style, as if it was always Halloween. It goes really well with the humorous tone of cats holding guns and zombies rising from their graves. But don't worry, the game's not for children, it's more like the opposite of that. So I wrote a story to wrap it all up. In the story, chaos emerged in the small town of Heavenbrew, and some crazy dirty mouth cats are trying to stop this madness by reaching the heart of the town and killing the person behind everything. And with that I have all the foundations I need to create the game. But listen, that's not all that's done so far. I already made a lot of things like the level generation algorithm, game mechanics, and playing out the gameplay, story, and some characters. So please tell me what you want to see next in the comments. There will be more devlogs, so subscribe to the channel so you don't miss. Also, if you like it, don't forget to wishlist the game, it helps a lot. Leave your comments and suggestions and leave your opinion down there. Have a nice day, and I see you next time.